Did Abraham actually sacrifice his son Isaac in the earliest versions of the story that we find in Genesis 22? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is the Spawn #1 cover. And this is certainly a widespread opinion, not only among scholars, but even among ancient and medieval Jewish scholars. There are traditions from late antique and medieval Judaism that Isaac actually was sacrificed. We have a tradition where Isaac was taken to heaven so that the angels could heal the wound from the knife, and he stayed there for 3 years before returning to Abraham. There's another tradition where some rabbis say that they knew the place to build the second temple because they had a vision where they saw an altar in the right spot with Isaac's ashes over top of it. Still another tradition says that Isaac's ashes were scattered all over Mount Moriah, but then God caused dew to form in the grass, and that allowed Isaac to be resurrected. You can read about these and a number of other such traditions in Spiegel's book, The Last Trial. And these are not just arbitrary traditions. There are reasons for these interpretations of the passage. For instance, when the story describes Abraham and Isaac traveling to Mount Moriah, verse 6, it says the two of them went on together. Verse 8 says the two of them went on together. Verse 9 says they arrived at the place. And then you have the story of Abraham almost sacrificing Isaac, the angel intervening, the discussion between Abraham and the angel. And then verse 19 says, so Abraham returned to his young men, and they went back home. The text explicitly has two people going up the mountain and only one coming down. So that leads to questions about what was going on in the earlier versions of this story. And there's also the question of the blessing that Abraham received. His offspring would be as the sands of the sea and the stars of the sky. This actually lines up with ancient rationalizations for child sacrifice. Anciently, any newborn had probably less than a 50% chance of surviving to see their first birthday. And so there was a high likelihood that newborns would not survive very long anyway. And so some people sacrificed their firstborn child because of a cost-benefit analysis. If we can secure the deity's blessing, maybe the future children will have a higher likelihood of success. And so the blessing that God gives to Abraham aligns with the logic of ancient child sacrifice. So that's another thing that could indicate that in the earlier version of this story, maybe Abraham did end up sacrificing his son Isaac. You can read about scholarly perspectives on this in John Levinson's wonderful book, The Death and Resurrection of the Beloved Son, as well as in Francesca Stavrakopoulou's book, King Manasseh and Child Sacrifice. And for more on child sacrifice in ancient Israel, particularly as it relates to the noun Moloch, which was not a reference to a deity, but just a specific type of sacrifice, I would highly recommend Heath Durrell's book, Child Sacrifice in Ancient Israel.